Welcome, dear friends. Welcome to the second chapter of our story. Tonight, we turn another page in a tale that stretches across many nights. A story of ancient Egypt, where pyramids rise toward the sky, temples hum with the secrets of pharaohs, and the Nile flows with the rhythms of civilization long past. Tell me in the comments where you're listening from and what hour of the night keeps you company. It's always a marvel to know that these words travel across oceans and time zones. If you enjoy these journeys, please let us know in the comments which story you would like to hear next. If you are ready, dim the lights, let the world around you fade away, and allow yourself to drift into the timeless embrace of history. The desert stirred with the slow rise of the sun, a vast sea of gold and amber stretching endlessly. From the horizon, the step pyramid of Djoser gleamed, its tiers carved with precision, each stone laid as both monument and prayer. Dust danced in the morning light, stirred by laborers already at work. Apprentices lined the terraces, muscles taut, eyes wide with anticipation, their hearts beating with the rhythm of the desert and the river. Sephew, the eldest apprentice, flexed his arms, the pride in his chest matching the tension in his muscles. Today, he intended to lift a massive limestone block to a higher tier, eager to prove himself in front of the master builders. Kim, precise and deliberate, measured chords and angles, eyes sharp for the slightest misalignment. Nefari adjusted pulleys, muttering prayers under her breath, her hands steady, her mind focused on each calculation. Nearby, another apprentice, Tariq, younger and quick-witted, watched Sephew's attempt with apprehension, knowing a misstep could be disastrous. Priests approached, carrying incense, water, and sacred symbols. They sprinkled each block before lifting, chanting invocations to Ra for light and life, to Thoth for wisdom and knowledge, to Osiris for guidance in death and eternity, and to Isis for protection. The voices rose above the desert clamor, weaving a thread between stone, human endeavor, and the divine. Ammonius, standing on a ridge, sketched symbols in the sand, imagining the unseen currents connecting every action, every prayer, every stone to eternity. At the quarry, limestone blocks waited, massive and silent, their surfaces smooth yet heavy with promise. Teams of workers pulled sledges across, sand lubricated with water. Muscles bulged, ropes groaned, and dust rose like smoke from an invisible fire. Each block was a test of coordination, strength, and patience. One misstep could crush limbs, ruin hours of work, or send sand and stone flying into chaos. Sephew, eager to show his prowess, misjudged the timing of a lift, sending a block tilting dangerously. Kim and Nefari intervened with calm precision, steadying the load just in time. The master builders' nod acknowledged the lesson. Pride alone could not triumph over patience, skill, and respect for the sacred work. The village along the Nile thrummed with life. Women wove mats and baskets, spun flax into linen, and baked bread in clay ovens. Children chased one another along riverbanks, laughing as fishermen hauled nets brimming with fish. Farmers tilled soil enriched by the seasonal flood, preparing fields for wheat, barley, and flax. Elders recounted stories of pharaohs, of gods walking unseen, and of mortals who had shaped the world with skill, faith, and imagination. Each act, planting seeds, weaving reeds, drawing water from the river, was sacred, a thread connecting the living with the divine and generations yet unborn. Days passed, and the pyramid rose tier by tier. Every level presented new challenges. Stones needed precise alignment, not only with cardinal points, but also with the stars. Priests measured shadows and celestial markers with rods and cords, whispering guidance from unseen dimensions. Pharaoh Djoser occasionally approached, laying hands upon stones, reciting sacred words. His presence was a bridge between mortal labor and divine will. Apprentices watched closely, learning that construction was as much ritual as labor, that faith, geometry, mathematics, and imagination were inseparable. Ammonius wandered into a lower chamber partially concealed beneath dust and shadow. Sunlight fell in shafts across rough walls, illuminating faint hieroglyphs carved by unknown hands centuries before. The symbols told of devotion, fear, hope, warnings of Set's chaos, and instructions for navigating the pharaoh's journey in the afterlife. Ammonius traced the carvings reverently, feeling whispers from the past. Each glyph was a voice stretching across centuries, a connection of imagination, faith, and human endeavor. The midday pause brought ritual. Priests sprinkled water and recited chants. Apprentices watched, learning that patience, rhythm, and reverence were as crucial as physical strength. These pauses aligned human labor with the sacred, reminding all that the pyramid was more than stone. It was a living testament to the unity of earth, sky, and spirit. Seasonal festivals along the Nile painted the village with music, color, and devotion. Planting and harvest celebrations honored Hapi, the river god, while offerings, music, and dance celebrated Are, Isis, and Osiris. Children learned hymns and dances, mimicking elders. Ammonius observed the harmonious rhythm. Labor, river, village, and gods intertwined, a tapestry of life and devotion. At the pyramid, challenges intensified. A massive limestone block awaited lifting to a higher tier. Sephu rushed, miscalculating timing, and the block tipped slightly, sending sand erupting into the air. Kim and Nefari adjusted ropes with practiced skill, steadying the weight. The apprentices learned that pride could jeopardize not only the stone, but life itself. Collaboration, patience, and focus were sacred. Hidden chambers offered deeper mysteries. Ammonius and Nefari explored narrow corridors, discovering glyphs of protective prayers, secret instructions for the pharaoh's journey, and notes from laborers, small confessions of fear, hope, and devotion. Each chamber revealed layers of human story and divine connection. The pyramid was more than tomb. It was a library of imagination, memory, and spiritual intent. Night fell, and Ammonius walked along the riverbank, gazing at the pyramid silhouetted against the starry sky. Torchlight flickered in distant corridors. Priests chanted. Gods moved unseen. Osiris judged hearts. Isis protected. Set tested courage. The Nile carried prayers and stories downstream, linking generations in an endless chain. Apprentices reflected on their growth. Sephu's pride had tempered into respect for skill and ritual. Kem had learned patience and leadership. Nefari's quiet confidence inspired others. Tariq, the youngest, marveled at human perseverance and divine mystery. Together, they represented the human thread woven through stone, ritual, and cosmic design. The pyramid neared completion. Torches lined terraces. Incense smoke swirled. Priests chanted in unison. Pharaoh Djoser placed symbolic stones. Villagers watched, aware that every gesture carried sacred significance. The pyramid became a living testament to human devotion, ingenuity, and cosmic harmony. Stars blanketed the sky. The pyramid glimmered under moonlight, and Ammonius reflected on centuries of human effort and faith. He saw the desert wind as a messenger, carrying prayers, labor, and imagination across generations. In dreams, visions revealed pharaohs walking corridors, priests performing secret rites, Osiris judging, Isis guiding, and Set challenging the faithful. The pyramid aligned with the sun and stars, a cosmic instrument bridging earth and divine intent. The desert cooled, the river flowed silently, and the pyramid stood eternal. Apprentices matured, villagers celebrated, and Ammonius understood that the threads of labor, ritual, and devotion were woven into eternity. The pyramid, the river, the village, and the people, alive in memory, faith, and imagination, whispered secrets to those who observed, ready to endure across centuries. The days grew longer, the sun rising higher over the desert. Workers began their shifts before dawn, the air still cool, the sand crisp beneath their feet. Sephu stretched his arms and shoulders, feeling the weight of expectation on his young shoulders. He had gained skill over the past months, but pride still edged his confidence. Today, a new challenge awaited, a limestone block larger than any he had lifted before. Kim approached him quietly, checking measurements and angles. "Patience, Sephu. Strength alone cannot move this stone," he warned. Nefari, standing nearby, adjusted ropes and pulleys, murmuring a soft prayer to Isis, seeking protection and precision. Tarek, the youngest apprentice, ran his hands along the smooth surface of the block, tracing its edges as if learning its secrets. Each stone carried a story, each vein and crack a memory of the quarry it came from. Today, the apprentices would learn that construction was a dialogue between human effort, divine blessing, and the unyielding character of stone. The laborers heaved, ropes creaked, and sand sprayed in clouds. Sephu pushed too eagerly, the block shifting dangerously. Kim shouted instructions, coordinating workers with precise timing. Nefari guided the ropes with calm authority. Slowly, inch by inch, the massive limestone block moved until it rested perfectly in place. The apprentices cheered quietly, relief and pride mingling in their voices. This single act became a lesson in trust, patience, and the sacred weight of their labor. In the village along the Nile, daily life intertwined with these monumental efforts. Women prepared meals, weaving baskets to carry grain, spinning flax into linen, tending to children and livestock. Children ran along the riverbank, their laughter blending with the songs of fishermen hauling nets. Elders told stories of past pharaohs, recounting the deeds of those who had built temples and monuments, who had walked with the gods. The villagers' lives were a rhythm and harmony with the river's ebb and flow, each action connected to the Nile, the desert, the gods, and the pyramid rising in the distance. As the pyramid grew, so too did the apprentices. Sephu learned humility, understanding that strength without precision could destroy as easily as it could create. Kim developed leadership, guiding younger laborers and apprentices with wisdom. Nefari's calm mastery inspired others, showing that devotion and skill were inseparable. Tarek, once timid, now embraced challenges, learning the rhythm of stone, the whispers of the gods, and the pulse of human ambition. Their personal growth intertwined with the pyramid itself. Each stone laid became a reflection of their character, each misstep a lesson in patience and respect. The priests continued their rituals, moving through the construction site with incense and water. They chanted, not only to Ra, Osiris, and Isis, but also to Thoth for knowledge, happy for the river's bounty, and minor gods who watched over households and families. Each stone placement required a blessing, a prayer, a ritual. Workers observed, learning that the sacred and the practical were inseparable. Labor alone was not enough. Devotion and understanding of cosmic harmony were essential. Hidden chambers within the pyramid revealed new mysteries. Ammonius and Nefari explored narrow passageways, discovering glyphs that recounted not only royal decrees and prayers, but also the private confessions of laborers, fears of injury, hopes for their children, dreams of recognition, and reverence for the gods. Some glyphs warned of Set's chaos. Others offered instructions for the pharaoh's soul journey. Each chamber became a small universe of human thought and divine interaction, a testament to the complexity of life and belief. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the desert in deep gold and crimson, the apprentices paused to rest. Sephu leaned against a stone, sweat running down his face. "Do you think we'll ever be remembered?" he asked, voice quiet in the evening air. Kim shook his head, smiling. "The stones will remember. The pharaoh will remember. And the gods will always see." Nefari added softly, "We are part of something eternal, even if we never know it." The apprentice's eyes followed the pyramid's silhouette, imagining the generations who would walk its terraces, who would study its stones, who would wonder at its creation. Seasonal festivals punctuated the work, infusing village life with music, dance, and ritual. During the planting season, Villagers offered thanks to Happy for the river's life-giving waters. Dancers moved in patterns reflecting the river's flow. Children mimicking the elders' gestures, and priests performed ceremonies to ensure balance between human and divine. Harvest brought celebration and feasting, with offerings to Ra for sunlight and fertility, Osiris for rebirth, and Isis for protection. Each event reinforced the connection between village, river, desert, and pyramid, teaching apprentices and laborers that human endeavor was inseparable from cosmic order. The worksite itself presented ongoing challenges. Stones from distant quarries required days to transport, with teams coordinating to slide massive blocks over sand and mud. Each day brought small crises, ropes fraying, pulleys sticking, unexpected shifts in balance. Apprentices learned to read the stones, predict their behavior, and communicate instinctively with their teams. Labor became a dialogue, the pyramid a living organism responding to their skill, patience, and devotion. Night brought visions. Ammonius lay beneath palm trees, gazing at the star-filled sky. In his mind, pharaohs walked corridors lined with hieroglyphs. Priests performed secret rites. Osiris judged hearts. Isis guided the faithful, and Set tested the courageous. Stars aligned with the pyramid's tiers, revealing celestial patterns that mirrored human effort. The desert whispered stories of labor and devotion, of ambition and divine blessing, weaving past, present, and future into a single tapestry. Apprentices and villagers alike learned that the pyramid was not merely a monument, but a living repository of human experience. Every stone told a story. Every glyph was a prayer, a warning, or a confession. Workers' sweat, laughter, and toil merged with cosmic rhythms and divine oversight, creating something enduring, eternal, and radiant. Sephu faced his greatest challenge on the final tier. A limestone block, enormous and unwieldy, had to be lifted precisely. Sweat ran down his face, muscles trembling, but he moved with newfound humility and understanding. Kim guided, Nefari steadied ropes, and Tark monitored alignment. Inch by inch, with chants and prayers from priests rising like a tide around them, the block reached its place. A cheer rose quietly among apprentices and laborers, a triumph of skill, patience, and devotion. The pharaoh observed, placing symbolic stones and offering blessings. Priests chanted in harmony, their voices rising to meet the stars. Villagers gathered, celebrating not only the pharaoh's vision, but also the collective effort of human hands, minds, and hearts. The pyramid was complete, radiant under the moonlight, a testament to endurance, faith, and imagination. Ammonius reflected on the threads of life, labor, and devotion interwoven through the pyramid, the village, and the river. The desert cooled, stars glittered, and the Nile flowed silently, eternal and unyielding. Dreams revealed visions of future generations, explorers and scholars marveling at the pyramid, connecting their curiosity with the devotion of those long past. The apprentices had grown, the laborers had persevered, and the village had flourished. And the pyramid, silent yet radiant, stood as a bridge between human ambition, divine blessing, and eternity. Its stones whispered across time, carrying memory, faith, and imagination, eternal as the stars reflected in the Nile and the sands of the desert.